Hey everyone, Connie here, and today we will be reacting to the next episode, episode 3? Episode 3 of Persona 5, the animation. So we are here at the next episode, and yeah, episode 2 was a lot less rushed than the first, but we're continuing on with stuff that I still do know at this point. As I've said before, I know basically up until Kamoshida's entire arc is over, when on Takamaki. I still think it should be pronounced Takamaki. Either way, when On joins the group. So, yeah, this episode should probably, I think, focus on and her getting to know the other two, Ryuji and Ren, I think it is. And it should focus on her, like, just getting to know them and everything, and also bringing in the her friend, whose name I cannot remember right now, um, and really giving us more into that, which is really important, and it's probably going to just bother the hell out of me, but for a good reason and for valid reasons. It's not that it's bad; it's actually very well made and very, at least in the game, but it's gonna bother me, like legit. Um, However, though, I'm excited to see exactly how this is going to be portrayed, and hopefully, we just continue to slow it down a little bit, because there's a lot of stuff that goes on coming up, and I really think they need to just take their time with it a little more. They seem to just be rushing through things a little too fast, at least for my taste. But we'll see. We'll see where it goes. So, for now, let's get this started. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. I don't know why I said it that way. Because after this fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So that being said, thank you so much for tuning in today, and I'll see you with the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. I knew this episode was going to upset me. I knew exactly what was coming, and I knew it was going to upset me. For those of you who weren't on the old channel, for those of you who might be watching this and weren't following me on my old channel before it was terminated, back in November, I was live streaming a game called Doki Doki Literature Club. A lot of you probably know what that is by this point. There's a part in the game where it shows in very graphic fashion the aftermath of a suicide. And it broke me. I was streaming it, and right on stream, I had a breakdown. I had to leave the room. I puked. I was crying. I was just completely broken down because I have a history with suicide and depression. I was never abused to anywhere near the level that Shiho was, or anyone else victimized by Kamoshida. I was never, ever subject to stuff like that. But what I was subject to, through my depression, through my anxiety, through my, just how I felt because of my autism and how my autism affected me and everything, just everything coming together in this like tour de force caused me throughout 2013 to not only think about but actually straight up attempt suicide on multiple occasions. And I'm not going to go into it here because it's not fully necessary, but as I've mentioned in the past, I was saved from suicide, and my depression because of because of like discovering a new cartoon. Happened to be MLP, but it got me into a lot more and changed my life in ways that I would never have expected. 2013, funny enough, was also the first year I went to a convention, uh, which happened after the suicide stuff, the suicide attempts and everything had been helped. Since then, I have had moments where I have considered it. I have never attempted suicide again. Luckily, I have never gotten that far, but I have. It has come into my mind. My depression has had bouts of extreme, just pain, on occasion, and while it's definitely it's never been as bad again as it was in 2013. I've still felt the effects of it. The reason I broke down with Doki Doki is because I had never seen, I had seen suicide brought up and stuff in other content, but I'd never seen it so viscerally shown. So intensely shown. And it's the same reason why I didn't break down as much as I did then here. Because one, it didn't actually come to pass. Shiho did survive, even if she is in a coma. Two, while it did have a lot of build-up, at this point I knew it was going to happen, and even with the game, like, it wasn't as shocking, and they didn't present it as intensely as Doki Doki did. At this point, with these, even, again, when I first saw it in the game, it did still upset me, and it still does here, even, again, knowing it was going to happen. It really upset me, and you notice I was very quiet during the rest of this reaction afterwards. Not only just because she attempted suicide, but the reasons why. Kamoshida is one of my most hated characters in all of media. Not just in games, not just in anime, but all of media. Physical and sexual abuse is never okay. But on the level that he's done it to here, to the point of driving this poor girl to try and kill herself just to get away from it, it's reprehensible. It's unforgivable. And that's where we get into what is said at the end of this episode. An said that she wanted him to live and pay for his crimes instead of dying. This has always been a true belief for me, and something I will never waver on. I do not support in real life the death penalty. I believe the death penalty is archaic, immature, and completely wrong. It does not deter criminals, and it's been proven to not deter criminals. Yet we use it because people think it's the right thing to do, that if someone's going to do a crime so bad, such as like mass murder or mass sexual assault or something like that, that they deserve to die for it. And one, I don't think anyone, even the worst people, deserve to die. I don't think anyone deserves to die. That's just a horrible, evil thought in and of itself to say that. Two, it doesn't teach anything. You know what teaches something? Them paying for their mistakes. Giving them death is basically like giving them the easy way out. What would make more sense is to have them suffer. Yes, I believe that people who commit those crimes should suffer. Very much so. They should suffer badly. And the American prison system at least is crap with that. They give way too many amenities to prisoners, but that's an issue for another day. The point is, I think instead of death penalty, we should make them suffer in prison. Not just being in prison. They should have the barest minimum of food. And it should be bad food. Enough to keep them alive, but it should be really bad. Like, really bad food. They should be, like, they should be what's the word? How do I put it? In a fair amount, according to the crimes they have committed and the reason they're in prison, they should be receiving, honestly, not torture. Torture is definitely the wrong word. No. But they should receive repercussions. Let's put it that way. I couldn't think of the word I was trying to think of. They should receive repercussions for their crimes based on the severity of their crimes. If they are an extreme mass murderer, someone like Charles Manson, then, yeah, they should be in inhumane circumstances. They should be forced into extremely hard labor. And heck, I even say they should be whipped. I am not joking here. Some people will say that's inhumane and that's completely horrible and atrocious. No. No, it's not. After what they did, no, it's not. They do not deserve the same rights as us. And if they somehow make it out on bail or something, they should not be able to get anything. They should not have the right to vote. They should not be able to get a job. They should basically be permanently put out of everything because of that. If the crime is that severe, I'm talking. And sexual assaults are, in my opinion, some of the worst crimes you can commit. And especially if it's as bad as Kamoshida, or, of course, worse. At this point, he needs to live. Kamoshida needs to live because he needs to not only pay for his crimes, but to suffer for them. And I believe that, again, counts for people in real life too. The people who commit these crimes need to be imprisoned and made to suffer. Because that makes more sense than just killing them. That will deter people more. Because people will not want to commit as many crimes if they know they're going to go through hell. Believe it or not, people will not be deterred as much by death. Especially with the American system for the death penalty, where you're just mostly sitting on death row for years or even decades with nothing actually happening. It's a completely invalid system. And even if it was almost instant, like after sentencing, it still wouldn't make as much of a difference. These criminals aren't as afraid of death as they are of suffering. They do not want to suffer. They do not want to be put in these extreme situations of pain and horror, just horror. They're not going to want that. That's going to deter a lot of them more. And I could talk about that forever, but I probably should leave it there. The point of the matter is that I like that Persona 5 covers that, basically. It of course isn't going to go into all these huge details about like directly and explicitly connecting it to the real life issue of the death penalty. But the fact they make the concerted effort to point out that it would be better for Kamoshida to live and suffer and pay for his crimes than to just be killed. That it is not right to take his life, but that he does need to pay the price for his actions. So I really like that. This episode did a lot to build the relationship with with the others. Um, and that's going to continue to go through with the next episode. Um, Out of what I saw of the game, again, as I mentioned before, I was watching Rarity Dash's Let's Play for a while, up until Kamoshida's eventual defeat and everything. From what I saw, An is my favorite character. For what she represents, and just personality and everything as well. She's my favorite character because she has an amazing amount of strength. She put herself through hell with Kamoshida just for her friend's sake. And I know that a lot of you probably aren't Christians, and this might be a little controversial, but I do want to bring up a Bible verse here. I don't remember the exact book and verse number, but what it says is that to lay down one's life for one's friends is the truest act of love, basically. Or it's like, I think I actually said that backwards. It's like, true love is to lay down one's life for one's friends. Either way, the point still, no. Truer love knows no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. That's it. It's basically what's saying that the ultimate act of love is self-sacrifice. And I've always believed in this, not even just from a Christian perspective, but just from a moralistic perspective. The idea of self-sacrifice, of sacrificing your own safety, health, life, even to greater degrees, or whatnot for a loved one, even not just like specifically friends, but family, or just anyone, really. That is the ultimate act of love. There is nothing greater you could do for anyone than to lay down your life for them. And, of course, An wasn't going that far, but it's still the same ideal of self-sacrifice. She was sacrificing her health, her safety, pretty much everything but her life, straight up, just for Shiho's sake. And it wasn't even just to protect Shiho, just to keep her on the volleyball team, just to keep her as a starter. She was doing all this horrible stuff. And while, again, it didn't explicitly state, but yeah, it is very much implied that Kamoshida was sexually abusing her. And with her Panther outfit and even Carmen's outfit, it's sort of, at least from my perspective, I don't know exactly how this connects to like what people who know the game a little more than I do and have actually played it themselves or have just gotten further than what I've seen. I don't know exactly how much it connects, but how I see it, with Carmen's outfit and even An's outfit as Panther, is that it's representative of An taking back that just feeling of personal sexuality. Like, she's taking that back and making it her own, no longer letting anyone else control it for her. And that's powerful. Like, as I've mentioned before, I'm asexual. I don't have a sexual mind. I don't, like, look at half-naked girls and, like, go goo-goo over that, for lack of a better term. Or I don't look at shirtless guys and go nuts. Even if I admit that they are, yes, very attractive, I don't think on a level like, oh, I would like to see them naked, or I would like to bang them, or anything like that. Mind the crude talk, but yeah, my mind doesn't work like that. I don't have I guess you could say I don't really have a sex drive. I don't think with my sexual organs. I don't view people like that. But even so, I still understand what it means to be in control of your own sexuality. I still understand what it means to not let others control that for you and to really just view it as almost sacred in a way. Probably a little extreme way of putting it, but you get what I'm saying. So the idea of An gaining the strength and becoming confident enough to take that sexuality back from the grasp of Kamoshida, who had been, again, clearly sexually abusing her. It shows so much just wonderful, wonderful strength from her that I just really respect and love. She's one of those strong female characters I constantly rave about loving. So yeah, I just really love her character because I know exactly what's gonna come to the end of this arc, and I can't wait for it, to be honest. But yeah, this episode was actually amazing. Like, in comparison with the past two episodes, the first episode, as I mentioned, it was good, but extremely rushed. The second episode still felt very rushed, but it was a lot better and a lot more enthralling, you could say. This one didn't feel rushed at all. It actually did not. It felt like that was the exact right amount of content that should have been in this episode. And as I mentioned, the stuff I do want to see them take out, the stuff I do want to see them skim over a little bit, is the exploration stuff. Because the exploration gets very repetitive. It gets very obnoxious when watching it in the game. Now, it's probably different if you're playing the game, but again, I was watching a Let's Play, so I have to take that from my account. It gets really obnoxious and really old really quick. So to see that kind of expedited here makes sense, and that's a little more understandable than a lot of the stuff they skimmed over in the first episodes, especially skimming over the entire reason why Ren was originally arrested in the first episode. Even though they explained it more in episode 2, they really should have gone into that in episode 1. And it just felt like they randomly took it out, and then it's like, oh no, we made a mistake, we have to put it back in for episode 2. That's really what it felt like. It didn't feel natural in its placement. I don't know, maybe that's just me. But yeah, this episode was so well done. It was so well paced. It didn't have any rushing issues. It was just extremely well handled. Like, the conflicts and confrontations and everything, it just felt like what I would want it to feel like. What I feel it should. There was something that wasn't in the game at this point, and that was the inclusion of the one guy at the train station. The one, the brown-haired dude. I think that's the detective guy I've heard about, Goro Akechi. I think that's the name. If it's not, I'm sorry. I don't know anything about him other than he's a really popular character in the game. And I think he's the one who was mentioned as being the next Naruto Shirogane. The next big detective, basically. Otherwise, yeah, I don't know anything about his character or how he fits into all of this. I am interested to find out, though. But yeah, this is actually starting to get really good. This is what I wanted from the Persona 5 anime. Like, quality content like this. So yeah, I pretty much know what's coming up next episode, but I'm going to leave this off here at this point. Mainly because I do want to start getting this all edited and stuff before Monday Night Raw starts. Because I'm going to be live tweeting about that and all. Either way. So tell me down in the comments below what you thought of everything. Did Shiho's suicide attempt affect you as well? Does Kamoshida make you as pissed off as he makes me? And what did you think of An's show of strength and taking back her sexuality as she embraced Carmen and became Panther in this episode? Tell me your thoughts on all of that and more in the comments below, and thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Connie Royal, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.
And don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you've come through many obstacles. Shed tears.